Get ready for an all-new, exciting era of woke. Star Wars: The High Republic Initiative. Here we go, everybody. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction and #1 best-selling science fiction author, award-winning science fiction author. I could go on, but please go to the newsletter in the description below and get a free science fiction novel just for signing up for my newsletter. It's a pretty awesome deal. I'll also head over to my book, Justified, and I'll put this in the description below. Also, if you are interested in something that's Star Wars that's not very woke, in fact, would trigger all the wokes, it's got a nice, wholesome Christian perspective to it. Check this out today. All right, we've got Star Wars: The High Republic, and they came out with some character designs because if you don't know what this is, it's a novel and comic series where they've got a, I guess, continuing plot going throughout all of them. And there's 5 authors involved in it, and Charles Soule for Marvel Comics, who I believe is doing both comics and novels for it. And they came out with pretty woke character designs. They have this like Han Solo-ish dude who is clearly, into other dudes. And they have whatever this is. They call this a he, but I think they shouldn't be assuming it's gender, just to be safe on the safe side there. It's pretty bad. It looks pretty bad, and it's going to be pretty bad. Here's the reason why. They didn't just go here and make these woke character designs, which are going to be just bland, uninspired caricatures of whatever identity politics they feel like throwing into this. They set it in an era where it's, in between the Knights of the Old Republic, which is, of course, a fan favorite, and the new Star Wars era where, they've already went and torched all the characters' legacies. So they've relegated Kathleen Kennedy's projects after Mandalorian has been such a success with fans to these eras where really nobody cares about. It will be something that they're trying to develop their own characters, and the first couple are going to sell, and then it's going to drop off rather quickly, and be memory hold down the line. That's what the High Republic is. I guess it's set 200 or 300 years prior to the main Star Wars films. But the most crazy part about this is they hired author Justina Ireland to be a part of this. Justina Ireland is the most woke author out there. She's made an entire career of shaking down the publishing industry and trying to destroy other authors' careers for being white, and for she's basically the Al Sharpton of the publishing industry. If you just head to her blog, which she has not updated in a long time, because why would you update any blogs at this point when you've got your cush job? But if you look at it, just scroll down quickly. When it comes to stories about racism, why does Hollywood love a white point of view? So, she clearly is just hired because she hates white people. Dispatches from the writing trenches, writing social justice into fantasy, racism edition. She just loves the word racism. And of course, she, why is a bottomless well for clickbait articles? Here's why. Yep. And so if you just scroll through, it's about, things she likes, of course, but it's your fave is a hot mess, but you don't have to be. And this is one of those articles about how you're bad because you like, stories with a character that happened to be white in it or whatnot. Goodbye, sensitivity reader database. Now, she actually started the sensitivity reader database where she actually had a list of all the sensitivity readers out there. And if you don't know what sensitivity readers are, publishers actually put out their books now, and then they have these blue-haired weirdos go out there and torch the books and be like, it's problematic because it's got racist stereotypes about this Native American tribe. And it's like that. Oh, Native Americans insensitive. I'm sorry. That's a term from last year. I can't use that word anymore. I don't even know what the words are these days because they change them so often at this point. But that's about it. We'll go over into a couple of her things here. She always goes off. She's always quoted in all these articles about YA fiction, about how problematic they are. The problem with the YA community isn't criticism, whether it's vitriolic or benign. It's the systematic exclusion of stories of marginalized groups as told by marginalized creators. So of course she's talking about the criticism about how the woke movement is really just torching and destroying people, but that's not the problem. It's the exclusion of marginalized groups as told by marginalized creators, whatever that means. Ironically, again, she's just hired to be this diversity hire across the board, and that's what they did for Star Wars too. If you look at the 4 others in there, they're all white people. So they hired Justina to be like, look, we have our token, and she'll provide exactly what they want and provide their cover. If they didn't do it, of course, she'd probably be writing articles about how racist they are. And that's the Al Sharpton way of doing things, right? He goes out and he makes a fuss about race until somebody pays him off. But Justina Ireland wrote a couple articles. She wrote one that I don't have a link to because it was in Locus magazine. It was in a print edition about a book called The Black Witch back in 2017. And I was one of the people leading the cause against the cancellation of this book. The Black Witch is a story by Laurie Forrest. It's a fantasy story, which is all about prejudice and all that. And the whole point of the book, it's a little heavy-handed in the fact that it's saying prejudice is bad and you shouldn't act that way, and you should change your ways if you are prejudiced. And I love Lori as a person. I think she's a wonderful person and good ideals and all that. But at the same time, it's a little heavy-handed. And so, of course, because Lori's white, Justina took to destroying that book in an article, calling her all sorts of names, because, white women shouldn't be able to write about racism and whatever, because they are not the proper identity to do so. You see how far this goes when you see this sort of stuff like that. She also went off on a book called The Continent by another white author named Kira Drake. And here's an article in The Vulture. She calls it a racist garbage fire. And again, The Continent is really just about like having different cultures and seeing the good in each other and working together to make something more positive. So it is the opposite of what Justina Ireland says, but because of the identity of the authors, Justina went and just tried to destroy them. What she did was spur on a mob on Twitter and Instagram and in the publishing industry to try to destroy these poor women's careers and them personally. I saw firsthand how just destroyed these women were. They were upset, they were bullied, they were harassed. It was really awful. And this is what Justina Ireland does. And her entire career is based on this. And now Star Wars is giving her the go-ahead to push these sort of agendas in the Star Wars universe. It's really so far off the rails, and I don't think anybody else will be giving commentary on it on this level. They'll be talking about the character designs and how Kathleen Kennedy and how stupid it all is, of course. But the fact that they hired Justina Ireland to do this is shocking, and people need to be aware of it, that this is what they're doing to children's books and children's programming, and they're trying to indoctrinate your children and ruin this whole corner of the universe. Now, yeah, of course, it is set in a different era because they've already torched that later era, and they're trying to fix that so that the fans actually have something to latch on to. But for some reason, they just keep hiring these people who are just absolutely insane and going to push this franchise in an even worse direction. I just thought you guys might get a kick out of that. Let me know what you think about it. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below. We'll be following this and talking to you soon.